Hello, good morning. Welcome to JS Testing Academy. Hope you are doing well. We have posted some videos regarding API testing before. We thought of adding one more right tutorial to the API testing series, which we posted. This time we thought of telling about authentication and authorization. Okay, authentication and authorization is the most two key important things in the world of API. Okay, authentication means making sure the identify of an user, that is called as an authentication, and authorization is that user has which privileges or which permissions, that is called as an authorization. Suppose you are going into an application into a company, just swiping the card and you are authenticating yourself and going into the company, but you can't go to the entire place in the company. There will be some restricted areas which we can't go. Only authorized persons can use that particular restricted area. So authorization is giving permission for some privileges, going and deleting the data, changing something, right. There will be some permissions which is restricted. Only the restricted person can only do it, right. So that is called as an authorization. Okay, so in this video we are going to see three authorization authentication things, right. One is a basic auth, next one is a bearer token, and third one is a digest auth. And the difference between all these three, that is what we are going to see in this video. Okay, so now let's go to the Postman, right, and we'll see the first one, that is called as an basic authentication. Okay, now let's go to the Postman. Okay, so for that we need to go to the collection. Okay, and we need to create one. All right, one minute. Okay, we have to open a create new collection, blank collection. Okay, then we need to write authentication demo. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll add a request here. Okay, I have an endpoint with me. If I go to the notepad, so this right endpoint, I'll for basic authentication, I'll have this endpoint. This is inbuilt in the Postman itself. HTTP postman echo.com/basic auth. I'll copy this endpoint. Okay, telecom is an base URI and basic auth is an resource. I'll copy this. Okay, first, let me paste in the browser. You'll know what is a basic authentication. Okay. Now, if I click enter, it will ask for a username and password. Okay. Basic authentication is nothing but a very simple authentication where an endpoint is going to ask credentials, username and password. Without the credentials, we can't log in. For any application, right, we need a credential, right? Suppose log into Flipkart, right, make my trip, okay, a red bus, right, any application, email, right, we need all these credentials for logging in. So it's nothing but a basic checking or identifying a user, this is the person who is going to log in or book a ticket or cancel a ticket. So that is called as basic authentication. So making sure the user is giving an username and password and verifying himself and logging in. Okay, so this is called as a basic auth. Let me show with an example. Let me go to the Postman. First, let me log in here. Username is the username for this one. Then the password. One minute. The username is Postman, and the password is password. I sorry, I just give a wrong username and password. Okay, so you can see, right, authenticated. So we should give credentials then only you can launch particular endpoint. Same thing we'll try in the Postman also. Let me go to the Postman. Okay, let's create a right first endpoint. I'll copy and paste it. Okay, now let me go for authorization. Click authorization. I click the type, and first thing you are going to see is basic auth, that is basic authentication, where we need to give username and password and make sure you are authenticated. Okay, let me copy and paste the same username and password, Postman, and the password is password, and click send now. See, it's called now authenticated true, and we got status 200. Now let's change the password and see. Let me click send. See, unauthorized. So for accessing an your endpoint, we need username and password. If we don't have an username and password, we can't give a request, get a response from the server, and we get the status code 401, which is an unauthorized or forbidden one. Okay, this is the explanation or understanding of the basic one. Okay, now next go to the next type of authentication, basic auth. Okay, now let's create another API request. Here now Barrett token. Okay, now I'll copy the endpoint and paste it. Okay, where we go for Barrett token. Okay, Barrett token is a popular method for securing the APIs. Okay, Barrett token is a popular API for securing the API. For example, giving adding one more layer to our our API. For example, we are sending a request from client to server. We are authenticating with a username and password, whereas we need an extra protection layer, right, for creating a token in our to the API, so that you give an extra token, then you access the particular API. That is where we go for a bearer token. Okay, so when a user authenticates with the API, typically providing username and password, and server generates a token. That token is a long random string that acts as a credentials for accessing the particular API. And the server sends this token back to the client, usually in the response body or a part of a response headers. Okay, so we need this token for giving the getting the response back from the server. Without this token we can't access, for example, the GitHub, right? We need a token to access the GitHub. Suppose I have a GitHub, someone wants to access my GitHub, I need to give a bearer token so that they are accessing my GitHub. Okay, so it's a one of an additional layer we are giving, providing, so that with the token only they are going to access the particular GitHub. Okay, let's go for the authorization now. And now again, let's go for a GitHub. 1 minute, I'll go to Chrome. I'll go to GitHub. I log into my GitHub. So already logged in. Okay, now I'll sign out the already logged in one. Let me sign in back. I'll give my username and password. Okay, now there is a github url here. Okay, for that I need to create a token here. So I have some repositories here. Okay, where I need to write access this particular repositories. Okay, for that we need to go to here to settings. Okay, developer settings, we need to go to developer settings, and we need to go for personal access token. Click here. Okay, fine grain tokens I should click here, and we should already existing have, I'm going to delete it. I'm going to delete again and click right. I then click right generate a new token. Okay, I'll give a token name here, Postman, and expiration day, the date days of a token I'll give 7 days. Now we can give 30 days as per wish we can give, and we can make public or like how what is how right, any repositories, right, public read only, right, I'll give permission for this repository also. Okay, all the repositories or one only selected repository I need, I'm going to give here. Then I'm going to generate a token here. So I'm going to generate a token for my GitHub repository. Okay. Okay, a token has been generated now. Okay, you can see right, a GitHub token has been generated now. Okay, for signing, going and accessing that particular GitHub, we need this token. For this, I give authorization. Okay, then I'll go type. I'll give bearer token. Then I need to give the token here. Okay, then I click send now. See, I'm getting all my repository here, right? You can see all my repositories here. Okay, GitHub repository, which we saw in that GitHub account, right? You can get see the all the repositories here. So I need to send a give a bearer token to access my repository here. You can see all the repository Docker sample, right? You can see the different repositories which I had in the GitHub account. Flipkart demo. You can see right the different repositories. So if I want to access a person repository, so we can create a bearer token and give to the corresponding person so that we can access our all our repositories. Okay, that is the understanding of a bearer token. Hope it was useful and learning to you. Okay, now let's go to the next authentication, that is digest start. Okay, so there is a small difference between basic auth and the digest start. Okay, there's a small difference between a basic auth and the digest start. Let me create an add a request. Okay, I'll copy the endpoint. There we gave basic auth. Here the resource is digest auth. So if you see, if you notice, right, the resource is the digest auth. Okay. Now let's go for the right authorization. Okay. Type I'll go digest auth. I'll give. Okay, so what is first, let me and let us understand what is a digest start. It is, see, in basic auth what we gave username and password and we access the particular endpoint, right? As server we access, we got the response. Digest start is nothing but an extra layer. Okay, so extra protection we are going to give. Suppose, right, you are going to a hotel and you are ordering a food. Okay, you're ordering a food, right, and you're ordering a food and you paid paid money and you got a bill, right? To get the food, again we have to go to a different counter and give that order id. Without that order ID, they won't give the food even if you paid the bill. Okay, so they need a token id to order id to give you food. If the order id is wrong, what happens? They will give an another food. Okay, or the food will get diminished, right? So we need an extra protection, or we need an extra right, authentication to get the correct response. Okay, so there are right, what happens, no backend, what happens if a client right hits the server? Okay, so what happens in the background we should able to understand. Okay, 1 minute, let me go to the paint. Okay, client hits the server. Okay. When client hits the server, okay, client makes a request to the server. The server responds with the challenge, right? For example, what challenge means? Unauthorized stated code. Like that, it will respond. Okay. So, what the challenge includes? So, what? Why the challenge includes? It includes the server needs the information such as relim, no ones, and other parameters. Okay, that is quality of protection. They want three things to be authorized, so that you are getting the response back. Without giving the extra protection, or without giving these three things, your endpoint won't get authorized. In basic card, you gave only username and password, you got authorized. But in the digest chart, you need an extra layer. We should give all these right values so that the endpoint is getting authorized. Okay, that is an extra layer, right? Two times you do something, right? We, for example, right, when we you need to access something, right? We get and confirm yes or no, something, right? In our mobile or something we get. So we need to do an extra second layer of protection, a two-step verification which we need to do in a Gmail, right? So we need extra protection here. That's why we going for an digest start. Okay, so now let's go and click send. It is authenticated. Suppose I'm disabling this one, disable the retry request. You see, right, this extra values won't, right, it's getting added. So Postman will extract values from the received response, add it to the request, and retry it. Do you want to disable it? So this extra protection is getting disabled. Let's go and click send. See, unauthorized. Okay, so by default what happens, it checks all these things. Let me go to the header. You see, digest, right, users, no sense, there is an id, and right, quality of protection, there is an value here. Okay, with these three things is getting authenticated, checked, then only the endpoint is getting hit and given a response from the server here. Okay, so this is an understanding, guys. Okay, the first basic auth is nothing but credentials you are giving and logging in, and second is nothing but, suppose I want to use particular endpoint, I need to give an access token, that is called as a bearer token. And here digest auth is giving an extra layer of protection which is checked at the back end. And if I enable it, it works. If I disable it, it's giving an unauthorized one. Okay, so this understanding, hope it's useful. Next coming video we are going to see about API token and OAuth. Hope this video is useful to many people. Thank you.